to short sticks. That's massive because you really have to react to the Harvard attack and the guys that have poles. Lots of room, lots of space, lots of speed for this Harvard offense.
What's Harvard think when it sees that versus what it typically runs into?
I think they're really excited because Andrew Perry and Logan Ip can beat short sticks. They have some good depth on the field, and it should be a really good matchup. I really am paying attention to the defensive approach for Harvard early. The first possession, they really were sliding fast.
Harvard is a slide and recover team. It's not just about one guy guarding one guy. It's truly team defense. Good substitution, nice look to the stick, and a quick shot score. Late run onto the field by Brian Luzy, and the quick find of him set up some early offense for Cornell.
Michael Long, very high-end, very talented. He beats Stevens on the short side there. The big goalie, the right-hander, you can see it just gets between his stick and his shoulder. Stevens kind of pops that top hand to his left, and that's all the space Mike Long needed.
Assist to Luzy, 21st goal of the year for Long.
Goldstein's change of direction on that last dead ball was incredible. So fast and so skilled.
Kirst has the short stick on him. Finn Leshley, swing, long, misses wide, backed up by Ryan Goldstein, the sophomore out of Pennsylvania.
Right there, you see why C.J. Kirst gets so many goals, because he's so good feeding his teammates. His head is always up, his hands are always free.
Cornell's had a ton of look at goal, too. 4 shots already. Harvard did not get one on its opening possession. Ground ball, Sean Jordan, the long stick, fighting for it. Quickly picked up, shot clock at 1, and a bounce goes in. Did it count? Yes! 1 second on the timer for Willem Firth, and he goes bar down for a 2-0 lead.
You see all the young lacrosse players all over the country and all over the world. They shoot the ball high to high. This is a very skilled young man out of Ontario, the Hill Academy. He brings that high bouncer, kicks up right over Stevens' shoulder. Cornell up 2-0.
I know it's 2 goals, and I know we're 5 minutes in, but that is a downhill run here for Luzy. Had the assist on the opening goal.
You said it, Ryan Sheehan's the son of a coach. We have some of the best players in the history of the game. Their children are on the field right now. This is an all-time great matchup for the Ivy League in the regular season, in my opinion.
Long was looking to be a feeder. Luzy right back to Long. Working from X. Shot clock at 30. Most methodical possession for Cornell so far. Goal line extended. Wrap around and a score. 3-0 start for Cornell. Exactly what the Big Red were looking for, and it's a nightmare beginning for the Crimson.
Ryan Goldstein has elite change of direction and elite speed. This is why he gets so many feeds. This is going to be the issue for Harvard with Owen Guest, who was a 5-star out of high school. The youngster's incredibly athletic as well, but no challenge for Ryan Goldstein right there.
Timeout, Harvard.
Far enough, shall I say, but that's a great opportunity. You can see what Harvard wants to do. Draw slides off the short six of Cornell, try to get shots, and then move the ball.
Then it's interesting because one of the things that Harvard does best is ride and cause havoc in transition. They weren't even worried about it here. They just want to get back and set up. Kirst. You see 3-0 start for Cornell.
Excuse me, you see the Harvard mentality. They're just going to switch off if they have to and play team defense. That's what Coach Byrne has always preached, team defense. Matchups kind of matter, but if we play together, we should be fine.
Handful of different people going to defend Kirst today. It's one of the things that Jerry Byrne told us. He's going to have to respond to the different looks. Bounce goes through. Everyone's responding to whatever look right now. Willem Firth with his 2nd goal.
What we're seeing with the shooting, discounting the Michael Long goal to start the game, is change of levels. The shooters for Cornell are shooting high to low or low to high. Good shooters, but this is going to make it very difficult for this Harvard team to dig out of this if they keep allowing these shots inside 8 yards.
It going lately on the run. Botkus behind goal line. Spidell. And he was in the crease behind.
You chalk that up as an unforced turnover. The major difference between early in the season, Andrew Perry is drawing the pole right off the start of the possessions. He's really found his legs, got back into shape, got back to his groove after missing last season. But that's a massive hit because he's a stretch shooter for this Harvard offense.
You talk about groove. Does it just seem like Harvard hasn't been able to find a groove?
Agreed. The first possession, they turned the ball over into an in the crease. Harvard needs to start maximizing all the possessions, but this is why we have a shot clock to keep the game fast for the fans at home.
Goal line extended, high look goes through. The ball movement is filthy. Ryan Goldstein has his second, and Cornell is rocking in Cambridge.
That is very tough to defend. That is on the doorstep. That's a shot taken almost 2 yards off the crease. Look at this great feed through traffic. Just drops his stick just a little bit, like we mentioned earlier. Changing planes as a shooter makes it very difficult no matter how big the goaltender is.
And because right now it feels like the game is running away from the Crimson. They need to feel like they're in it again. Darren across.
I think most importantly, Harvard just needs a possession here. They need to even get called for taking too long. They need to enjoy the ball here a little bit, get everyone a touch, and just see what they can do. Find their matchups.
Even give your defense a chance to breathe. Been on the field for almost all of the first 10 minutes of this game.
This is a big matchup. Number 5, Jackson Green with the short stick. You can see the quicker slide there. Makes you think maybe that Green should be having a pole for the rest of the game.
King is third on inside the crosses to Wharton. Watch at the moment. Spidell should be on that list too, because he's been rock solid over the last 3 weeks. That is 22 goals for Spidell in 5 games, and his team needed it.
Right in front of the goal. Spidell is a monster as well. You can see his great hands, but he loves to shoot. That's not even a split dodge. He catches that right-handed, gets right into his shot. Great job, low to low, beats the goaltender. Harvard's back into this thing. They got to feel great about that momentum.
And I don't know if he's trash-talking Cornell, if he's just trying to hype up. Oh, no, excuse me. Cornell was, no, yeah, correct. Harvard was called for the violation. So Baraka will have to come back in on the next.
Martin Nelson's been kind of the closer or the shutdown guy for this Harvard defense. You love to see him match up on Kirst. And here you go in transition. Let's see if Harvard can generate some instant offense.
This is Ray Dearth. You ride that line between taking advantage of the unsettled opportunity and not being the offensive guy, especially when you're down, waiting to set things up and let the horses arrive.
Harvard has to be really deliberate. Here you see Miles Botkus right there running the two-man with the left hand.
Ip. Bounce shot, scores it. Logan Ip, 4th straight with a goal. And Harvard back within 3.
You saw the Cornell defense had to hesitate. I just mentioned Miles Botkus running kind of a stall flyby there where you set the pick and then you kind of keep going to make the defense just have to look the other way. And that's a great dodge. Harvard needed that, now back within 2. This is exactly what we want to see. That's Logan Ip, by the way, who before this year had almost 1.
Nelson across midfield. Here's Andrew Perry.
This is the lineup for Harvard that's going to create some issues for this Cornell defense. You got Perry, Arndt, and Gaffney. If you're going to pull Arndt, the other two can very easily compete against short sticks at a very high level. And you see them, Cornell's very hesitant to slide. They're playing almost the midfield with the midfield here.
Gil Martin is the shorty against Owen Gaffney. Now Perry. Perry gets on the doorstep and scores! 2 guys that missed all of last season. It's been a slow comeback for both Perry and Gaffney, and they combined to put one on the board.
Andrew Perry is so dynamic athletically, and you see how good he is off the short stick. He uses his body so well. He gets under the defender, gets back up top. Here you go. You see the Gaffney with the loose pick. He gets back up under the hard hat winner himself, and Perry puts it in the net to bring the Crimson within 2.
Charlie Box, that hard hat winner, such a tough-nosed defender for Cornell. This is where, as a fan, you watch the first quarter and you panic a little bit. But if you're Jerry Byrne and you're Harvard's coaching staff, you just need to keep your team level-headed, because now you're back in the game. Although Cornell, off of the face-off, says forget about that. We're number 1.
The little coaching point on the side there, that was the first face-off this game that Harvard did not put 2 poles on the wings. Didn't really matter. The face-off guy popped it to himself. He just got too deep. All he could do at that point was shoot. Graham Stevens is kind of getting shelled here, but at least Cornell is putting everything on Cage, so they're making him really, really play inside the goal and do his job.
Kaskinen will do that to you. He has now 8 goals on the season as a straight-up Fogo.
You know, you talk about face-off guys with...
Malone misses off the crossbar.
Talk about a lefty stretch shooter. That was a great shot for Teddy Malone. He definitely doesn't want to get lost in the dice here with King and Spidell. Malone, a 5-star himself out of Haverford. You can see the depth in this Harvard offense.
You got a shot, take it.
Agreed. From 10 yards with your hands free, if you're Teddy Malone, you're saying, give it to me more. I can do that.
Perry's seen a ton of run. 41 in white. John Arndt, second midfield line, has some space and a nice save by Nust. Got there with the hands, kicked out the rebound to make it a one-goal game.
I was literally just about to say there, John Arndt isn't changing planes. He must have known it and felt it. He picks up the ground ball, fights through the baggage there and puts it right back on Cage. That's a huge play for the Michigan native.
12th of the year here for John Arndt. This is a great first save, but that rebound, and actually, it's Jason Singer that deflects that back to Harvard.
That was just, he wanted the ball. That was a great play by John Arndt. You can see how physical this Harvard offense can be as well.
6-4. Sorry, I said one-goal game. I forgot about the quick face-off tally. 6-4, Cornell leads.
First time this has happened in a few games for Harvard where they've turned it into a 3-on-3 inside the letter. That's massive for the Harvard face-off team.
Gil Martin picks up the loose ball. Quick goal again, though. You can't give those up. That's now twice that Harvard has scored and immediately surrendered. Eddie Rahill with his first of the season.
I was watching Cornell during their pregame. They do some great individual development and stick work, and you can see this. That's a great play by a short stick on the wing to a pole off the face-off. Watch his feed, and in traffic, boom. That was just a great, he had the ball in his stick for a second, puts it right on Cage. Very little Stevens can do from 6 yards.
Those are confident goals. Those are the goals of a team that says we're number one and we feel like we can score wherever, whereas it feels like Harvard needs to be much more tactical and laborious to put its four up.
I agree with that, but what we're seeing here, coming out of the end of the first quarter, Harvard is growing up. They've had a great season so far. They have real depth in their talent, and here we're going to see if they can play super fast here and close this thing down a little bit more.
Shot went right into the cross. Here comes Dearth in transition. Doorstep Spidell. One more for a goal. All right, Harvard's got the confidence and swagger now, too. It's Malone.
Spidell, known for putting the goals in the back of the net. That is a great, classic, old-school L-fast break by this Crimson offense. And right where he should be, wide open, having made every defender move, is Teddy Malone, an all-time great high school finisher who's having a great game so far. Look at that great drone footage. Oh, my gosh, that's incredible. Great view of the crowd as well, but Teddy Malone, that's a big goal for the Pennsylvania native.
And Spidell could have taken that first shot. It's a
Agreed.
high IQ play to make that pass.
Tougher angle shooting, but I think that's what we're going to see. That's what Harvard has had the most success with. Andrew Perry scored his goal earlier today on something very similar.
Just past the midway point here in the second quarter. Good physical play by Ip. More of an offensive-minded guy, although he can play both ways. 3 in white. On the ball, Lucy gets by him. Shot clock at 30. I tell you what, Harvard's 6-on-6 has been okay as this game has gone on. It's been the transition for Cornell that's been deadly, although there's a great look. Lucy has had himself a great day in Cambridge.
Media, timeout.
Lead is back up to 3. And we've got a timeout with the #1 team in the country trying to ride toward a perfect season in the Ivy.
That's a regular piece of his game. We've seen him do more behind the back than he has left-handed this season.
3-goal lead for Cornell, though. Good job to go up and get that. Here's Kelleher.
That wasn't even a split dodge by you, Keller. That was literally like the train is coming, try to get in the way. Incredible, the physical abilities of both of these teams. Here's the matchup, Kirst on the short stick. This is what Cornell's been waiting for, and they haven't had to rush to it.
Kirst does not have a point yet today. There's his first 5 goals from the NCAA record. Takes advantage of the short stick and drives Finn Jensen to the hole.
Kirst reaching into his bag of skills and tricks. He gets the twister. Once he gets underneath his defender, you can see with that left hand, he brings it across to his right ear and puts it in the back of the net. Great job. But when you're playing box every summer in Canada and you're a member of Team USA's box lacrosse program, that's what you're going to see. I've said it before, and I will say it again. He is probably the best American playing lacrosse right now.
So Cornell able to dominate another face-off. They have had possession for most of this first half with 6 minutes left to go. Luzzi had the goal 2 scores ago, 22 in red. He's got a couple of points today, came in with 5.
That's the first possession, first time that Harvard has forced Cornell to throw that skip pass midfielder to midfielder.
Goal line wraparound. Kirst did it again. Oh, now you're starting to see why he's going to win the Tewaaraton. 2 goals in 30 seconds for CJ Kirst.
What's the common thread? He has short sticks on him, one covering him on the wing this time and one covering him up top. It's impossible to defend CJ Kirst with that kind of skill, size, and speed with short sticks. He's going to catch the ball inside 10 yards. All he's got to do is really get to 6, and his hands are free. Look at that COD right there. There's no slide to show to a strong hand. That's impossible to defend.
Victimizes Owen Guest that time for career goal number 221. That ties him with Mac O'Keefe from Penn State for 2nd all-time. Trying to chase down Peyton Cormier at 224. Of course, Zach Greer had 248, but that was in 5 seasons. Low shot, another! Natural hat trick for Kirst. He scores 3 goals in under a minute.
Wow. He had his hands free there. They knew right where they were going with that skip pass off the fast break from the face-off. That's just impossible to deal with. Literally, you're seeing a modern-day Gary Gate, the equivalent of it, here in person in 2025. Great drone footage again, but look at this skip pass. That's Michael Long with his head up, changing planes high to low. That is fundamental offensive lacrosse. It's great to see at that level.
And the lead is now a game-high 6. Timeout, Jerry Burns. CJ Kirst has taken over in Massachusetts. How good? Wraparound, missed, backed up by Spidell. Jason Singer, 43 in red, is doing a great job locking off Sam King on this possession.
You see off the dead ball here, Harvard very deliberate. They're getting the 2 short sticks. Ip and Arndt as close to X as they can to make sure they get an opportunity to dodge here early in the shot clock.
And a good move here on a reset. King says, I'm just going to go pick up the ball and start. Gives it up to Ip. Ip can't get his hands free. Flag flies out. That's the first one today. So an extra man coming. Spidell on the free play scores.
That was such a confident dodge, recovery, and feed by Logan Ip. You almost knew it was going to work out. Jack Spidell right where he should be on the chalk. But that is a high-level move by Logan Ip. He knew exactly what to do. And Jack Spidell right where he's always been, right in front of the goal. That's a great goal. I'm going to give Logan Ip all the credit for that one. Look at that dodge. Look at that feed. Spidell barely has the ball on his stick, and there's nothing you can do.
Lock up, and Owen Guest both won the ground ball, and the whistle goes Harvard's way.
That's 2 straight face-off wins for Harvard, where they're lucky enough to get the athletic short stick into the scrum, and they come out with it.
Long pole is on Spidell. Brendan Staub, 33 in red, is guarding him. Loose ball. Second run for Jackson Green, the sophomore, 5 in white. King also working on a pole with Singer. Nice look! Owen Gaffney. Tell you what, he and Perry have had a phenomenal game, and they've kept Harvard in this thing.
Harvard does such a great job of being where they should be. That was a great top dodge by Sam King. You can see he gets his hands free with a step away. Owen Gaffney's man is worried about recovering into the hole, and just too quickly, bang, bang, that happens.
The guy to keep your eye on is Firth. He's 5th in the country man up. 7 of his 19 goals have come with the man advantage. Cornell was 5 for 5 on the extra man against Syracuse last week.
I would have been surprised if they weren't 5 for 5 now that we're seeing them in person. There's just talent and IQ all over this Big Red offense. You see the empty out. They're going to wheel Goldstein behind the cage with cutters. Kicks the other way to Firth on the doorstep.
And Firth finds the back of the net. Beautifully executed. He has a hat trick.
Joel, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That is a tremendous call off the sideline, all scripted to get the players where they want to be. You have Willem Firth catching a strong-handed feed from C.J. Kirst, and notice the feed comes to his offside. The lefty puts the top hand across his face, catches it, gathers it, and puts it in the net. That was just great to watch. You lacrosse fans at home, if you're taping the game, that should be your first extra man in your next game. Look at that. That's impossible to defend. You got 2 Harvard Crimson sliding to the ball. Great job by Cornell.
And in defense of Graham Stevens, the goal is scored before it's ever shot there. There's not, like, you're asking a lot.
That's an impossible stop in close. Who do you pay attention to on the Cornell extra man? You got to pay attention to everyone.
It's like Jay Billis said the other week during the Final Four about Florida. You got to pick your poison. The only problem is they're all poison.
Yeah, when you have 6 players that you have to defend, and then one of them's the best player in the country, it's a tough ask.
It's a 5-goal difference again. Here comes Cortez downhill with his left.
There you go. You see the long dodge there against the short six. It creates the Cornell slide. It's very tough to go defend that. Here it goes again.
King. He finally scores! Best player for Harvard's been held off the scoreboard. Crimson back within 4.
I hate to say it, but this announcer's seeing some kind of consistency in both approaches for the offense. Let's dodge the outside and make the slides very difficult to do. That's Sam King, top 5 player in the country, drawing no slide, and that is a beautiful goal. If you had your volume turned up, you could have heard it click just the post. As
35 seconds, EMO for the Crimson. 50% on the year, man up.
Whatever they start in, they're going to end in a 3-3. That's what Harvard's really known for and very deliberate about. Moving Sam King around, and now Andrew Perry. You can see Sam King stretch with the short stick.
Perry goes low, misses. It's backed up, I believe, by Malone. Stays with Harvard either way. Cornell man down is 6th best defensively. Out in front, quick stick, Malone! I don't know how he had the daylight to move his weapon.
That's a great left-handed feed by Logan Ipp. Cornell's going to play tendencies, and that's not a tendency of his. Teddy Malone on the crease, that's not a tendency of his either. Harvard really doing a great job of breaking their patterns up a little bit, and they get the big goal to start the 3rd quarter.
So that penalty at the end of the first half, that was a catch and shoot in one swing.
You got a right-handed feeder feeding with his left hand, a left-handed shooter finishing with his right.
Not get it over in time. Cornell just dancing a little bit, gives it right back to Harvard. Quick restart.
Here's the Arndt, Cortez, Gaffney line in the midfield. Has had some success today. They've all played very well, in my opinion. Each player with a goal, I think.
Harvard scores here. The momentum of this shifts immensely. 2-goal game is what it would be. Gaffney will work from X. Cortez feeds in middle. Arndt scores! 2-goal game! Harvard comes out and scores twice in the first 2 minutes, quarter number 3.
On a simple level, that's the Harvard midfield taking over. That's Spidell, Malone, and King kind of getting a lemonade, getting a cheeseburger, coming in late to start the second half. That's the Harvard midfield called by Coach Hutchinson on the sideline. That's a great opportunity. John Arndt to Owen Gaffney.
How does he get so open underneath that way?
They're playing short six, and everyone's focused on Sam King and Spidell. Malone just had the all.
Caught up with the coaches.
Thanks very much, Joel. Talked to Harvard head coach Jerry Byrne. He basically said, for about a quarter and a half, we were losing every single face-off, didn't play enough 6-on-6 defense. That was something he really emphasized with us earlier in the week. Had to make Cornell play 6-on-6, gave up too many early goals to the Big Red offense. Thought they settled things down in the second quarter. Said once we were able to win some face-offs, I thought we were actually able to outscore them. Just got to do more of that here in the second half. Meanwhile, on the Cornell side, the message was simple. It was just keep going. Next play, next ground ball, and that's all they want to do to be able to get a big road win.
It gets inside. It's a 1-goal game.
You see the deep alley dodge. Logan Ip with a left-handed dodge. He's able to get back under his defender with his right hand. Look at all that space. He's taking a pole in space. Just too athletic and great body control. Doesn't go in the circle before that ball crosses the goal line. Look at that dynamic. Look how everybody's rough and ready there, ready to do their job, but that's Logan Ip saying, hey, speaky.
But it works. Like they say it because it's real. To a degree.
Number 3, Logan Ip.
Cornell's lead is down to 1.
Unassisted.
It had blown up midway through the second quarter when Kirst had the natural hat trick in under a minute. Harvard regrouping. Ball on the ground, quick pickup for Goldstein. Luzy's been a good facilitator. Downhill work for Waldman. This is that 6-on-6 that Jerry Byrne was talking about. Look, Waldman low, back to a 2-goal advantage. 9th goal of the season for the New Jersey native.
Cornell is so dynamic individually that when you force a reaction or you get a step on your defender, players are wide open. That time, wide open in front of the crease was Ryan Waldman. All you had to do was catch and redirect. Look at that slide. Dodge on a short stick. They hang the slide up halfway. The 2 slide isn't there on Waldman. Here you get the Canadian lefty. You know he's going to come back to his left hand. He might not shoot with his right hand, but he will be able to feed. You can see Martin Nelson with Kirst on the GLE.
Firth feeds to Kirst. Kirst had an assist and 3 goals in the first. Kelleher, nice dodge to his right, trying to find an alley, and he finds space in the back of the net. 5-hole, and Stevens was just a little bit late. It's back to a 3-goal advantage. Yes, that's a great look, but for Harvard, Stevens is going to have to make one of those saves to keep his team in it.
Stevens, but that's the second time that Hugh Kelleher has gotten over the top on Sean Jordan, and it has not worked out the way the Crimson want to. Kelleher is the biggest kid on the team, in my opinion. He is in the competition, the Final Four for the Cav off, but that's just a great job by the Cornell offense getting to where they want to get to.
Yeah, I mean, look at the calf raises. I mean, that's you know, 100 goals, that one misses wide. Long is a 6th-year collegian. Cornell is an old team. Here's Goldstein. Loose ball. And that is a hook on Goldstein. It'll be a Harvard ball. A lot of times in the Ivy, you've seen, especially with these COVID years, guys transfer to other places to finish off. Cornell did it in a way that guys weren't losing years of eligibility, and they've got a lot of 5th and 6th year guys.
Most of these guys were in the Final Four 2 years ago.
Nice save, Nust. That was eye high. And like, it's not game experience because they're not playing, but it's age experience.
They're just grown-ups, or closer to being grown-ups.
Just a sniper. Well, you wanted to say his name. Goldstein makes it a 4-point lead for Cornell. Razor ones to the ire. Acknowledge me. It's a hat trick. Now Kirst is open. Nelson sagging off, comes out to meet him. To the right hand, ducks underneath, he missed. Stevens with another save.
That might be the only time we'll see that or have ever seen that. He gets so under his defender, he gets right in front of the cage and just unable to finish that one. I'm sure he won't forget that one over the next few minutes.
Well, all of a sudden, the first year in cage is a Goliath for Harvard. Only problem is it stays with the Big Red. Shot clock had reset to 60. Already 3 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter. Kirst, yes! He's 1 goal away from tying history.
You see it right there. You cannot defend C.J. Kirst with a short stick. He got to exactly where he wanted to, puts the shot high to high. Look at that. That's barely a dodge. With that lift by the Harvard defender, that's not going to do anything to a big bull like that. Or a big bear, shall I say, coming out of Cornell.
A bear bull. Oh, I get it, because they're mascot.
Yep.
All 4 of his goals are on shorties today.
Or transition.
The next goal for CJ Kirst equals the NCAA Division I record. 224. Peyton Cormier for Virginia hit that mark a year ago. I have to imagine he knows, but the thing that makes him great is that he's played beyond that throughout his career. He never forces the individuality. Long, looks behind. Firth, yes, top left corner. Cornell has been pressured here in the second half a couple of times and has come back throwing huge haymakers.
That is incredible ball speed. You see the dodge off the far wing. They kick it through X. They throw the skip pass. You see the dodge here. They move it through X. You see Firth. He's the skip pass. You see him outside that piece of pizza there. I like to call that yellow thing. Hands free. This is a high-end Canadian box player from north of the border. That's easy pickings.
You talking about the fan?
The fan, yes, the fan. It looks like a half a pizza. I'm always thinking about food. What can you do?
Is there pineapple on it?
Never.
Shot does not go. It is backed up by Harvard. King runs right by Singer. Ip wanted to step into one, and his pass into the middle deflected away. Teddy Malone just leapfrogged Sam King to try to get back on this stride.
If Logan Ip takes that shot and it goes in, then you have to defend him as a left-handed stretch shooter as well as a dodger.
Stevens was off his line, and Cornell, unsettled in transition, scores again.
I think you're being very kind in saying he's off his line. Cornell beat that 10-man ride so quickly that he couldn't recover. Great job by the lefty Goldstein finding his teammate right in front of the cage. This drone work is incredible. It gives you such a great perspective. You can see how quickly the ball moves. If you can't see the number, you can see how fast it moves. There's Goldstein, throws the trail pass, finds the back of the net.
Missed off the pipe. There was a sigh of that should have been it off of the Cornell bench.
Fundamentals there. His hands, when he catches the ball, are already in the spots on the stick, so he doesn't have to move them or cradle. He can just get that release and that wind-up going ASAP.
That reset the shot clock. 10 seconds left on the penalty. Kirst. Ball dropped. Reset by Kelleher. Penalty is released. Doesn't matter. Sometimes that's the most dangerous spot, the second after you get back to full strength.
That is a tough stop to make. That's a tough pass to allow. You can see on the right wing, this goes through the whole defense, but defensively, the second slide on the backside was not down in time enough. You can see Martin Nelson just a step late, and that turns into an easy dunk across the face of the goal.
Rory Graham, the senior out of St. Michael's in Toronto, Ontario.
Has taken place.
That said, what have you learned about this Big Red team? Seeing them in person now as we come down the backstretch of the season, what's their potential?
You don't have to worry about size and backing down physically against the ACC and the Big Ten. These are athletes, student athletes that were probably heavily recruited by all of those schools. Cornell's an Ivy League school. Once again, it's close to the border, but I think they can go as far as they want. In reality, they have too many pieces that you have to defend.
Just like that, Kirst ties the record. 224 career goals in the career of CJ Kirst. It's a class of 2.
The race is on right now to get that next assist for CJ Kirst. You see the great look to the backside. That's a lefty catching it across his face. This is an incredible finish by CJ Kirst. Firth opens up his hips. You knew he had to get to that left hand. That's the only way to do it. But with that step away on 51, he was able to get his hands free. The defender wasn't able to lock up that bottom hand and take the stick away. But very little that Harvard could do there. We'll see what they do. If it's an extra opportunity here, I imagine they're going to finish in the 3-3 like they always do. Where does Sam King start? and where will he finish?
Let me ask you about Zach Greer, though. Like, what is it like as a coach when you have to game plan against a guy like a CJ Kirst, like a Zach Greer, that is that next level as a goal scorer?
Pretty funny. We actually had to deal with him when he was at Duke, playing with the other young man who's the coach at Matt Danowski. So we got to deal with that whole revved up team at Duke, and then to see Zach Greer at Bryant, we felt like we had a better chance against Bryant than we did against that Duke roster.
Pick the corner.
Andrew Perry just going high to high, not changing planes. And that's a lefty goalie. He beats stick side. That'll feel good. They'll watch that one this week. But Andrew Perry just throws the ball so heavy. You can see the movement here. Harvard carries the ball to the throwback. Perry really undefended because he's outside of the fan, as I learned that's called. But that's just a great stretch shot. He has a very unique skill set for this Harvard offense.
You know what? I prefer the pizza.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Especially because that's an exceptionally large